talking about one of the worst hip-hop albums I have heard in a while in the mainstream, and I'm talking about Jackboys 2. It breaks my heart to say that, but it's just true. I was excited for this album. It dropped pretty much Saturday night for me, 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's where I live on the West Coast. I listened to it, and it wasn't great. It was pretty bad in my opinion. And you know Travis Scott, he has a great discography. He's known for dropping quality stuff, but this, in my opinion, was just an awful sequel to an album that people really like. But overall, this album was not great. And there's a lot of reasons for it. In my opinion, the second half was just a complete mess. The first half was tolerable, was mid, I guess, but then the second half was just, in my opinion, just terrible. First off, the first red flag I saw from the track list I saw was I Love My Bitch being on this album. I don't know if you guys heard, but I Love My Bitch is an awful song. Terrible song. I was like, why is this song on the album? And you see it, and I'm like, okay, fine. I guess it's on the album, but sure. I guess we're gonna just go with that. Because why the fuck not? It wasn't great, and then you have like these random features that I just didn't care. Guys, the album was so bad that midway through each some of these songs, I'm just skipping it. Because I'm like, if I'm not enjoying it halfway through, why am I gonna go through complete garbage to get to the good second half? So some features I just never heard. Why? Because the album sucked. A lot of these songs just sucked. They dragged, and it was just like, by the time it was getting to the good part, I'm already skipping the song. I finished the album like 10 minutes early from when it dropped, and I was just like, this album was boring. This album was bad. This is a bad album. I don't want to listen to a boring album. The last time I listened to an album I think was this boring was Live Life Fast by Roddy Ricch, and that was years ago. This was awful. This was not good. This was subpar at best. So I don't really know why that was on here. And if you think I Love My Bitch is a bad song, go listen to No Comments by Don Toliver. I truly believe No Comments is a terrible song. That song was awful. You have this chipmunk ass voice from Don Toliver, just completely voice changing him. That doesn't even sound like him. I said, is that Don? Like, why is he doing that with his voice? I don't know what the engineers were thinking. They're like, yes, let's just tune up your voice, I guess, to make it really high pitched. Don't know what they were doing there. It was executed very poorly. I don't know what was going on there. It's an awful song that I had to skip midway through. A lot of songs I was just like, what is this? I'm like, what are you doing? And I just skip it because it's like, it's boring, or it's genuinely hurting my ears because, dear God, some of these songs were just awful. But and then you get some of these features, man. Let's just talk about the biggest feature on here. Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti was on the song Where Was You? Obviously, these features were hidden. Built some hype, some anticipation. If, ooh, who's on the feature list, who's not? Even though they announced pretty much all of them with Lambos. Also, question that I have, was the marketing budget higher for this album than Utopia? Utopia, everyone was over here walking with a goddamn briefcase. Over here, it seemed like they have infinite money over here, printing money, just giving out Lambos to everyone. Are people traveling to the places where they have the Lambo and people are just like, go take a picture with the Lambo, but we're not giving you the Lambo? Or are they actually physically creating more Lamborghinis for everyone and delivering them to those artists? Right? If that's the case, the budget for this album is bigger than Utopia. There's just no way. There's no way that it's not. But yeah, no. It's just a question I have. Anyways, Playboi Carti, he was on the song Where Was You? And my goodness, that song was so fucking boring. I'm listening to the album just like this. When is it gonna get good? It never got good. And I was like, wow, what a waste of a Playboi Carti feature. Guys, what has happened to the Playboi Carti stock? I feel like it has just it just keeps on declining since I Am Music has released. Guys, I'm sorry to say this. I don't want to say this. I really like Playboi Carti, but it's just not hitting anymore. I don't know if it's because this guy's dropped so much or what it is. I genuinely think it's because he dropped 30 songs on an album. That was a crucial mistake in my opinion, because now it's like, it feels like everything sounds so similar to the previous song he just dropped or he was collabed with or anything like that, because it just feels like it's just the same thing over and over again, except this beat. The beat on Where Was You was boring. It was dreadful, it was monotonous, and it dragged. And I was like, what is this? What is Playboi Carti doing with this sleepy ass verse putting me to sleep? Am I 50 years old? No, I'm 20. I'm trying to listen to good stuff. And when I'm here in my room, in my monitor right here, listening to music, I want to listen to good stuff. It wasn't great. It was bad. It was boring. I didn't care about it, right? That's the last thing you want to hear about a Cardi feature being boring. Like, what are we doing? Cardi's known for his sound, and this is boring. It's boring. It's putting me to sleep. Come on. And then okay, this is the highlight of the album, and I'm dead ass when I say this. The highlight of Jackboys 2 was Sofaygo. It's a fact. Sofaygo did what he needed to do. Sofaygo hasn't had any features, collabs with any of these guys from like Cactus Jack besides maybe Don Toliver. But that's not as big as getting a Travis Scott feature or being on an album with Travis Scott. That is significantly bigger. He wasn't on Utopia. I said he was snubbed. A lot of people agree that he was snubbed. So there was a moment here for Sofaygo to make. A defining moment, in my opinion, because he had to show out. He had to take the ball and run with it, and that is exactly what he did. He was on 2 songs on this album. He was on a solo song on this album, MM3, and Contest with Travis Scott, and dare I say those 2 songs were the best songs on this album. I'm not lying when I say this. He was the best part of this album. Sofaygo brought energy. The beats were alive on those songs. I love those performances from him. He showed up, and he needed to, because dear God, his career was basically just failing. He needed to show up for this, and I'm really happy that he showed up, and I was really excited to see what he was going to do, and I'm happy he had more placements than one, and I'm really happy they had so much confidence in him. They were like, hey, we're going to give you a solo track on here. Do your thing. The song, in my opinion, MM3 was the best song on the album. I know that's crazy to say. This is a Jackboys album. You think it'd be with collabs and everything like that? No, it was a solo Sofaygo song. It was the best song on Jackboys 2. This album was disappointing in almost every metric besides Sofaygo. I'm sorry to tell you this album was a huge letdown. It was lackluster. It had nothing of substance in my opinion. Not even the turned up stuff in my opinion was even that great. So, and in my opinion, Sofaygo carried Travis Scott on Contest. Great song in my opinion, maybe dragged a little bit too long, but again, a lot of these songs dragged on for quite a bit, and I thought they needed to end a lot sooner than they needed to go on for. And you know, the funniest part is that this album released within the same week of Clips' album, which we know Travis Scott dissed Pusha T on here. It was just a boring ass bar. It was just like, I put it on screen. I forgot what he said, but it was forgettable. He kind of like threw shade at him, but it just really wasn't much. Again, I'm not expecting top lyricism from Travis Scott. It's Travis Scott. I'm here for the artistry and the music, but clearly he didn't deliver in that department today. It was really disappointing stuff. So he dropped within the same week of Clips album, which I thought was pretty funny because I said please drop same day as him, but he dropped within the same week, so pretty much the same stuff. So he's gonna interrupt his sales to block him from going #1. But was this planned all along? Apparently it was going to drop this day because of Houston, the area code, and a lot of these guys are from Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I barely learned that like a couple days ago. I don't really know if that's true or not, but that was a game plan. I was over here defending Travis Scott about like, oh, he doesn't even reply to Pusha T, then he did, and then it's just like, this album wasn't even good, so it's like, what was I defending you for? But I was going to defend him regardless because I was just being unbiased. I was just saying what I was thinking because I think Pusha T was sneak dissing him for cheap ass promo, and his album barely got 10 million streams within his first day. It got less streams than Tekka's album its first day. That's embarrassing, but we're not here to talk about Pusha T. We're here to talk about the Jackboys 2 album, which I think was a total failure. It's disappointing when a mainstream album like this has a lot of hype going into it. It had a decent rollout. It actually had a rollout because a lot of these rappers are allergic to having a good rollout. Look at A$AP Rocky, his big ass rollout. He needs Rihanna to save his album at this rate. So, in my opinion, this album was a total flop in terms of its quality. If you like that album, please let me know. What was your favorite track from this album? How many units do you think it's going to sell first week? Let me know. In my opinion, this album was a complete failure outside from Sofaygo being the best part of the album, which in my opinion wasn't even like amazing or anything like that. It was just good enough for me to be like, at least he showed up for this album. In my opinion, there's not much to gain from this album. I personally only like 3 songs on this album out of 17. That's not good. There's a bunch of features on here. There's a Youngboy feature on here. There's probably other features I never heard. I think Glorilla was on here. I didn't really hear. 21 Savage just did ad-libs for a goddamn song. He didn't even have a verse. What kind of garbage was that? Even though most people are tired of hearing the mandated 21 Savage verse. We're just tired of it. Guys, just let me know what you think of the album. I thought this album was freaking garbage. One of the worst mainstream albums I've heard in a while. And that's a lot. And that's coming from a pretty good Travis Scott fan. But just disappointing garbage. Hip-hop has been in shambles this year. Who will save us?